Okay, this is my third steam room for this boiler. It's an Amric 4.0. I got it, I believe, in the 90s. It's got well over 75,000 cycles in it. It gets used damn near every day, year round. I've got it hooked up so that it pops off the wall. It's got all quick disconnects. It's got a dryer 30 amp pigtail plug-in. Below it is the Johnson Controls A419 digital thermostat controller. It has worked and I highly recommend it. I'll now go to the outside. All right, this is the steam room I fabricated around 15 years ago, and it is fabricated out of refrigerator panels. They come in 4 foot by 12 foot, and they're 4-inch thick polystyrene, and they're clad with baked enamel steel panels. Works really well. It's a quick fab. You can see that I used a 2.0 shower door on the left. Also on the left you'll see there's the mechanical timer and a little switch for turning the speaker on inside. I'm going to walk around to the other side real quick if I don't trip on something. You can see that little window is actually a 8 by 16 hopper window that's typically used for a window like that. Okay. Alright, let's go inside this beast. This is one of my innovations. This little clip is designed, if you yank on the door, it pops off in case someone falls through, but it also allows it to be rarely open so you can get that cross ventilation, which is critical in the Northwest here. The pan was poured in place concrete with no aggregate. It's strictly sand and cement. Then I put a sealer on top. The next day I scrubbed the sealer off and it gave it a lovely little finish. You can see the rust. This is fiberglass paneling, and this is all metal refrigerator panels except for the top of the seat. You can start to see after 15 years of extensive use, it's starting to rust. I'm going to take care of that this summer. All right, there. That speaker is hooked up to the main stereo in the house, and I just had to put a new thermostat sensor in. It finally gave out after 15 years. Shower head, yeah, hot and cold, freeze proof. In the winter time when it gets below freezing, I just disconnect this hose, let it drain, let it flop to the ground, and this thing has gone through some pretty severe weather. All right, so that's steam room number 1 on this video. Okay, this steam room drains out to the yard and waters my arborvitaes outside. What I plan on doing with what I should have done, these are baked enamel screw heads, and I should have used stainless. Now I know. These PVC trim. You can see where the baked enamel does not like the steam after 15 years. So I'm essentially going to sandblast the rusted areas, and I'm going to coat all the metal this summer in epoxy paint, and that should take care of everything. All right, that's the quick and dirty on this unit. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Don't trip over something. And there you go. It's held up really well. Okay, this is the latest steam room. It's attached to a house that was completed a couple years ago. The cap is 1/2-inch plywood on the outside, 3 inches of closed cell foam, 1/2-inch MDO plywood, and then has foil glued to it, and then fiberglass reinforced panel. The rest of the unit is the same schedule, except for the exterior is cement cellulose, i.e. hardy plank. The trim around the door, that 2.0 shower door, is PVC lumber. and we're going to do a quick walkabout. You can see there's a vent down below, and there's another vent on the back side, and that is for cross ventilation underneath the insulated bench. Okay, now we're looking at the back side, and you can see there's the 8-inch by 16-inch hopper window that's normally used on glass brick walls. Is obscured, and it's actually thermal pane. There's a vent down below, and that's the look. Okay, just like on the other steam room, I put a mechanical timer on the outside. I increased it from a 15-minute to a 30-minute. And then also, like the other steam room, is this hook. Keep it open and not flopping around in the wind to get that cross ventilation through that hopper window. All right, so you can see the interior is all white fiberglass paneling. It worked out really well. Also, I improved on this trim. I did like a countertop, for like a countertop. This goes over the PVC. I also stood it off with a weep underneath. Steam head, etc., etc., etc. That's a fiberglass shower pan, a 24 by 24. Had a hard time finding one that lined the drain up that I could work around. I was limited by the pre-poured trap we put in when we poured the slab. All right, the same hot and cold frost proof, and once again you just unscrew that, and this thing has no problem with freezing weather. Speaker, I learned you have to go with a bigger speaker. That's just from a ghetto blaster. All speakers now have polypropylene cones on them, so that you can use this pretty much any speaker, and it will withstand it. This is the mate for the one in the old steam room that's been inside for over 15 years. And then of course you can see the temperature sensor right there. Alrighty. The tricky part is I should have, because of the pan is 6 inches narrower than I wanted it to be. The door is 6 inches closer to the corner. Ideally be out a little bit more so that you're not in the way of this guy. And it's real tough to find this particular faucet anymore. It only comes out 3 inches. Most of them come out 4, and the nozzle comes way out on this spigot. So there you go. This is lined with FRP, and the sealants I use are very critical. They're all rated for 180 degrees minimum, and it was GeoCell gutter sealant. Great stuff. I use it all over the place. So that's the exterior. It came out real nice and clean. All right, let's go inside, look at the steam unit. All right, and here's the mechanical install. It's a bigger steam unit. It has to go 24 feet. I pre-plumbed it when we were building the house with 1/2-inch steam pipe. Turns out most generators now use 3/4 inch, so that pretty much locked me into Amric, which turns out to have been serendipitous. It's the right move to go. This is a 6.5. I don't think they make them as small as Yellow unit, which is a 4.0 kilowatt. I've got it set up like the other one, so it pops right off the wall. You can see that my digital controllers of A421. That's my quote-unquote stereo. And a little white cable goes to the speaker in the steam unit. I've got it so you can drain it right into a bucket underneath it. If you ever have to do that, it's all quick release. PEX supply, the 30 amp dryer pigtail to unplug it. This unit, it's all solid state circuitry. It's only 10 years old. It sat for 7 years, it was used in a remodel in New York, and it turned out that they undersized it, which is real typical when you use tile. You got that big heat sink. This unit's got solid state circuitry, and the unit's kind of designed for Amerik's dedicated controls. But the generous engineers at Amerik, I believe the gentleman I spoke to, his name is Brian, he helped me hotwire this unit with this digital controller and that mechanical timer you saw out there. That controller costs $70 and the timer's $10. And that timer will last at least 10 years before it breaks down from moisture. So that's the setup. Up and out of the way and nice and clean. It takes about 5 minutes for the first steam to come out, usually less than 10 minutes for it to get up to temperature, and that's damn near year-round with those 4-inch insulated panels. It doesn't have that big heat sink that you have with tile. Also, you don't have to worry about maintenance because you don't have the grout and etc. to work with. Oops, I got someone coming. That's it. Hello, this is the new steam room location. All right, at the bottom, the base shower pan, 32 by 32, with an offset drain, 12 by 12 offset inside. It's up 3.5 inches and leveled out on landscape plastic 4x4s, 3.5 by 3.5. You can see the steam outlet, and then the blue wire is for the manual timer. We had a hot and cold exterior faucet plumbed and installed when the house was built. The red and white wire leads back to where the steam generator is going to be, and here's my sensor. And then this is for the all-important speaker. The walls essentially are going to be 4 inches thick. An example here is going to be 2-inch rigid foam, 1-inch rigid foam, 1/2-inch MDO, and then I'm actually going to put a layer of tin foil on it for reflective, and then the final interior finish will be FRP, fiberglass reinforced plastic panels, 4x8 panels. Essentially, it's going to be a modular construction. Down here, this panel comes out to this mark. I modified a 2.0 door. It's now 21 3/4 rough opening. You gotta leave room for the trim, Also, you gotta have room for a switch for the timer right there. You know, the steam room had the timer by the door along with a flip switch to turn off the speaker that led to the main stereo upstairs. Okay, I think that's, the drain. I had a 4-inch curtain drain installed, and this just drains right into it and goes out into the garden area. Hello, many hours later, you can see I've got the exterior walls up. The critical thing about this is to use the far corner as your reference for all your measurements back there. That's the high point. It's a big slope going around here. Also, make sure this is a straight edge and that is fully adhered. I put a short piece of scrap wood up there and tied it in place so it dried. This is DAP Max foam, too aggressive. It popped through the caulking on the interior. This is a door buck, just keep everything in place. Using this as a glue is amazing. It takes about 4 hours, you can just leave it alone. But this will get covered with this fiberglass. Boom, I trim it out. I cut another 1/2 inch off, and I come to discover that the best way to cut this FRP is with your multi-tool, not the scoring. Oh my goodness, what a difference. Let's see. You can see I scored the foam with this wallpaper removing scoring tool. It's got little teeth on it for tooth. Also, if you look here, I got 1-inch, 2-inch, 1/2-inch MDO signage board, and you can see the tin foil and then the FRP. You gotta perforate. If you perforate the foil lightly, you can get all the air bubbles out right away. Otherwise, you're fighting it all the time. Here I used 4-inch screws and to screw the panels together for installation. I also used 3.5-inch screws using tabs made out of plumber's tape. And that just holds it in place until the glue is dry. The water-based glues, the tight bond takes a while to glue. This is my gutter glue that I use anywhere there's plywood ends exposed. This is the tool of choice for cutting foam. I've just started using this. It doesn't attack the foam, but Gorilla Glues typically get brittle, so I'm using it just to tack things in place until that dries. This is expensive, not worth the money. You can buy a lot of cans of foam, but it is convenient to put a little dab every now and then and just turn it off. That is convenient. You can see where I bucked out the window. It's a glass block hopper window, 7 by 14, something like that, and they're readily available. This side's all done, and the next step is to get the cap on. The cap's going to go out a bit. Like I said, make sure you leave plenty of space for your roof wall flashing up there. This is just a jig to hold things in place, and we'll catch up later. Bye-bye. Okay, I've got half a can of 3M90 on the foil and half a can on the fiberglass reinforced panels. Gotta put it on thick, especially when it comes out like silly string. I got it primarily along in the center so it won't droop. Not too heavy along the edges because that's going to be covered. Alright, so there you go. It's going to take another can to do the foil and the plywood, which I'll do that next. Alrighty, I've got the foil down on the FRP. What I'm going to do is I take this wallpaper tool, gently run some holes. That way it allows me to press down and it gets rid of all the bubbles. You can see up here, see all the bubbles, air bubbles, and they just don't disappear unless you do that. Neat trick. Okay, so let's get this down. Then I spray it again for the layer of plywood. That'll be the next one. Alright, I'm getting ready to add the 2-inch foam to the plywood, foil, and fiberglass panel. The foam I've scarfed up, give it some tooth with this tool. Ta-da! Alright. Okay, ready for the next step. I've got the bench framed in, got a 1-inch per foot slope. Try a 3/4 inch per foot slope on the other steam room. Didn't, still had a tendency to pool up. I'm going to fully insulate everything. I still imagine I was still able to get glue on the white shower pan, even went through 2 layers of cardboard. Now I gotta get that damn sticker off in the far corner. Alright. Okay, I just made the template for the bench top, 1/2 inch ply. You can see I fully foamed it in. That far corner, this is the tricky part. I've got a 1-inch slope going from there to there, and they meet on a compound. So I got to press the plywood down. I'll show you that when it's done.